Hey everybody, welcome back to Chipstock Investor. ASML just had their investor day.
They sure did.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it because there were some mighty displeased shareholders with the 2025 guidance. But we're going to do the typical thing, zoom out and take a look at the 2030 guidance and a little bit beyond.
Before we talk about everything you need to know about ASML's Investor Day, want to put in a quick plug for our Semiconductor Insider membership.
That's right, there are a lot of perks if you sign up. Link in the description below gets you access to our Discord channel where we have a great community of like-minded investors looking to learn about businesses and how to stay invested in them properly for the long term. It's also where you'll find all of our content these days. So if you prefer things in written form versus video form, you'll find that. Weekly Q&As. I think the biggest perk there is our entire investment framework. How we decide to pick stocks actually has been outlined over on the Discord channel since the beginning of 2024. Check that out. We've been told it's a pretty valuable membership at just $5 a month.
I guarantee you won't find anything of as much value for $5 a month. Guaranteed.
No, lots of people have told us this is the tech investing membership that you want.
Lots, tens of people. Check it out. We think you'll like it. If you don't, you wasted $5.
Not a big commitment for a cheap date.
Okay.
Back to ASML.
Back to ASML.
Now let's pick up where we left off in Q3 2024. We've known all along that ASML is in a transition year for 2024 because most of the semiconductor industry, excluding, of course, accelerated computing and AI, is still in a downturn and just returning to growth. What that means for ASML's customers, which are the actual fabs, the manufacturing facilities that actually make the chips, is they've been trying to make by with the equipment that they have already, and they're pushing off the purchase of new equipment like ASML's EUV, extreme ultraviolet lithography equipment, until 2025, 2026, and so on.
We shared this slide with you after ASML had their earnings. 2025 is still going to be a year of strong growth for the semiconductor industry, but fabs are being cautious with their spending. And some fab projects are even getting delayed. Intel is one offender of that. But NVIDIA's accelerated computing systems are still the strongest outlet for the industry growth. And China sales are normalizing, offset by the resumption of fab spending everywhere else.
Now, ultimately, what this meant for 2025 guidance was previously, earlier this year, ASML had been saying expect significant growth in 2025 over and above 2024. And so what everybody assumed automatically was that meant upwards of 40 billion euro in revenue for 2025. That was the guidance that ASML had provided 2 years ago in November 2022. Unfortunately, just because of this ongoing delay in chip fab expansion, ASML came out in Q3 and said actually expect somewhere between 30 and 35 billion in revenue for 2025. Not the end of the world. Still, it's going to be growth over 2024. We'll show you that here in just a moment, but lower growth than what was originally expected. Is this spelling doom for ASML and the chip industry?
No, it isn't. During the investor day, ASML confirmed their guidance for 2030, between 44 and 60 billion euro in expected sales by 2030. Here's a graphic we created to illustrate this another way. You can see in 2025, during the most recent earnings call, they actually lowered that expectation. But at the investor day, the midpoint of the guidance for 2030 implies a 11% revenue CAGR, or compound annual growth rate.
Now, that's pretty good. That should slightly outpace the overall end market sales for the semiconductor industry. There's still that expectation that we go from, let's just call it 600 billion to 1 trillion in annual sales between 2025 and 2030. Also about a 9 to 10% CAGR. So 11% CAGR at the midpoint for ASML, not bad, assuming that this revised, reaffirmed, reconfirmed guidance actually sticks. It is a wide range though. And this can bite investors if we peg this as an exact figure in 2030, just like it seems like the market was really pegging 35 to 40 billion euro in sales in 2025. That's off the table. The stock took a hit. Remember, these are fluid targets. A lot can change. The industry is undergoing a lot of puts and takes, I guess we should say right now.
5 years is a long time. A lot can happen in 5 years.
Yeah, a lot can happen. Absolutely. And a lot can happen in just 1 year, actually, for that matter.
Exactly. This is our representation of more of a U-shaped recovery. This phrase, U-shaped recovery, was recently used by Lattice CEO Ford Tamer. The shape of the semiconductor end market in everything besides accelerated computing and AI is taking a much longer time to get back to where they have growth.
So what that could mean is the first half of 2025 remains pretty sluggish for ASML as their customers continue to go through their cautious stance on fab spending. Before the second half of the year, there's that expectation for a more substantial uptick in sale of lithography and related equipment to fill up those fabs and meet end market demand for chips.
So all that said, with the investor day now in the books, where does that put us at Chipstock Investor for ASML stock?
So one more slide for you. We shared this during the Q3 update as well. We've actually had a hold rating on ASML. We're still shareholders of ASML and very happy to continue holding the stock. We're personally not buying at this time, but given the outlook, especially for the next 2 or 3 quarters being what it is, there is probably a pretty high likelihood that the stock continues to bounce around like it has in recent months. So if you want to position an ASML for the long term, eyeing that 2030 and beyond, because the company's growth rate probably isn't going to just fall off a cliff after 2030. This is an integral business to the semiconductor industry supply chain. If you're looking at that long-term potential, there's probably no imminent reason for you to pile into this thing. Take it slow. Consider using a dollar cost average or DCA plan at this particular point in time.
Thanks for joining us for this quick update after ASML's Investor Day. Don't forget to check out Semi Insider membership. Link to that membership in the description below. We have a Ko-fi shop where you can get access. See you all again soon at Chipstock Investor.